Yeah, this is Margaret Ann Windsor. The name I have to use is Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married Childers. Oddly enough, I didn't realize this when I started looking it up. This is Christmas Eve 2018. Um, I believe I'm correct that Lacey Peterson was supposed to have died on Christmas Eve. I've forgotten. I'm not doing so good. It's been a long time, and I'm tired of. I just really am so exhausted from all of it. I wrote about mind control murders, and I'm not going to try to go back. I can't. The only thing that these were done in patterns. I've told about the murders being done in patterns using mind control. And Scott Peterson and Lacey, that was certainly one of them. Now then, this doesn't fit in that much. It's just one of the pieces that helps. I'm going to try to read this. Okay, Ann Bird is the daughter of Jackie Peterson. When she was born in 1965, I believe. I don't have all this written down, and I had a time finding this. But anyway, her mother evidently wasn't married. Excuse me if I'm wrong about that, but I would think that was correct. She had her someone adopt her daughter. So evidently they got back together, and I believe someone I'm sure will correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that Scott and she met prior to Lacey's death. Now then, the one thing I know is the police did know, well, supposedly they do, that they had found Lacey's body underwater. And it was found East Bay in Richmond, and obviously this is San Francisco Bay. So maybe you all can know what I'm talking about or find out. I'm tired, and I'm going to put this down right now. Anyway, Ann Bird, who was a half sister to Scott, evidently they had met before the murders happened. You know, I'm thinking back from what I remember way back, and I know this is going round and round. I'm tired. I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to put it down in a minute. Ann Bird, his half sister, allowed him after the murders to live with her. I guess it was the same house. Anyway, I'm not sure about that. But she sold him out. No, he didn't kill anybody. But she's made money off the book. She wrote a book. I remember seeing it, and it just upset me because, my God, she sold her half brother out, her brother, because he didn't do it. Amber Fry got wealthy off of it. Amber's name fits in here real well in the patterns. I'm just too exhausted. I'm old. And I'm sitting here, and Scott Peterson's on death row, and I know, you say, I know, and how do I know? Let me say, I think that Scott Peterson is a decent young man, and it's sad that he's lived a lot of his life on death row. So I certainly went out there and tried to tell it. I went to Modesto. I used my money, what little I had. I rode the bus. I contacted this, and this, and told it. And my hope is that this is one, I would hope all of them that have been deaths that were caused because of mind control would be cleared up. However, I have kind of a different view. The way I have been treated is horrifying from all this. It really is. I'm not appreciated at all. Most people just hate my guts. And then I tell them about being kidnapped and brought over here and all this. I even had a letter from the FBI, okay? I'd written a book about mind control, and Larry Flint had been shot while I was doing the book. He was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I was living in Marietta at Moonraker Apartments. Later, Moonraker, I say, became a movie, a 007. And it also it was about outer space, but it had something about a mind control mechanism in it. Now, mind you, this is a couple of years after I wrote the book, so that would have had to have been probably after I worked for the district attorney in 80. I was almost killed April Fool Day of 80 and had a letter from the FBI, ongoing investigation, national security involved. And that's all I'm going to say about that. First of all, Richmond, and somebody's going to say, well, you can't get up there and tell that. Well, a lot of people have died, and they'll keep on, I suppose. I don't know. Then it matters that it's told. This is a weapon that even corporations can use now, much less your deep state armies and government, okay? They can program mass armies, much less one or two, or cause people to develop cancer and die, or they can cure it. Or Robin Williams to appear to look like he committed suicide when actually he was killed by mind control, just like the 32 over here in Virginia Tech, the shooting some years ago. I think that was 2015 maybe. April 16th. I may be wrong on that date, but thereabout. Anyway, the young fellow was from Seoul, South Korea. He was a student, and he turned around and shot himself. A lot of these that are programmed quite simply, just like Robin Williams and some more, to kill themselves. They're not really doing it. They're acting just like if they kill someone else, they kill themselves. They're programmed to. They don't even know they're going to. So my thing here was the Richmond. East Bay's in San Francisco. That didn't mean that much. It was more the other Scott and the other patterns that were used in it. So Ann Bird was half-sister and had been adopted out, and she let Scott sleep in her home, and she could see her mother and Scott's mother, Peterson, their home across. It was visible across from where they lived. That's all I'm going to put up, because there was something about the bodies. I may be wrong here. It's what I was trying to clarify. The Richmond, how close was that where the bodies were found to where she's talking about? I think her home, Ann's, his half-sister's home was near there. So that where the bodies were found. That was my understanding at the time. Now, that part I can be wrong on, and I can't go back and clarify it. It just will not come up for me. She wrote a book, though, and I don't want to promote her book. I don't like her. She sold out her brother for money. Ann Bird, B-I-R-D. Okay. That's about all. I'm tired, exhausted. I need to go out and walk if I can. And my question here is, I know that about the bodies were found at East Bay in Richmond, and that's San Francisco Bay. Okay, I was under the understanding that the bodies were near his half-sisters that later wrote the book. Her name's Ann Bird. And she's saying here in her book, evidently, Ann Bird, she wrote a book about it, saying he was guilty and all that, that she let him stay in her home for a while after the murders, and that they could see Jackie Peterson, Scott's mother, and Ann Bird's mother. She was adopted out by Jackie before she married Peterson, and Scott was born and all that they could see their home, the Peterson home, from Ann Bird's home. She lived in San Francisco Bay, I think. Now, I've probably made a mess of this, and somebody will say, well, lady, you're just babbling. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm afraid I do. This has been a long time, and I know that it was a mind control murder, and that they had a darn good attorney, the best anybody could have done, and that's Mark Garrigus. Now, whether Scott Peterson is saved before he goes, is put to death, I don't know. I hope so. He seems like a very nice fellow to me, and I think the people that sold him out are the ones that are the mean and cruel people. Got it?